Well, hello there, it's Mountain Gran again, and I just wanted to give you an update on my garage garden. As you can see, there are some things growing totally out of control, but I can still come out here daily and pick lettuce or kale for salads, or to add to soups, or just to cook the kale by itself. Some of the lettuces that I have growing out here, and this arugula, I'll be taking starts out of these 2 pans and moving them out to the garden. This is just where I sprinkled the seeds and let them grow. I've already done a couple additional pans of lettuce and arugula from these. Over on these shelves I have 2 more pans of lettuce and 1 small container where I'll be moving these also to larger containers and also to the garden. Down here is the Ragged Jack red Russian kale that I had originally started growing back in October. Over here is some red romaine lettuce that doesn't look very red, but it has been picked from so many times I've definitely lost count. Down on this lower shelf is a pan of arugula that I transplanted from that other pan. Just wanted to add a quick little something in here. This is one of my gooseberry bushes, and it really has a lot of blooms on it this year. As you can see, the bumblebees are out and really loving it. This is my horseradish planted in my raised bed, also known as a Coors tub. I drilled some holes in the bottom, filled it with compost and dirt, and planted these roots when I got them last fall. Over here, I have my comfrey plants. The comfrey plants I use for medicinal purposes and also as a fertilizer. When I plant my tomato plants in the spring, I take 1 leaf of comfrey and put it in each hole where I plant a tomato plant. You have to love the spring. That's when you start seeing growth again. This is my cat mint. Anything in the mint family I do plant in containers so that when it comes back it will hopefully be in the container. One thing I don't have in a container is lemon balm. Several years ago I planted it in the ground and it just keeps multiplying. I keep giving starts to friends. Here I have one of my blueberry plants. They too are just loaded with blooms this year, and hopefully we'll be getting some good blueberries this year. And now to show you my bedding plants for this year. I have a plethora of tomato plants. These are all ones that, if you remember right, in a previous video, I was planting from seed. But they're growing really well. I have tomatoes and I have squash. I went ahead and counted the tomato plants this morning, and I have 116 tomato plants and I believe 21 squash plants. I'm out here in my greenhouse. I'm still getting kale from my green stalk, and also have some Swiss chard in there to keep them going for the winter, because sometimes I lose them in the winter. I brought in a rosemary plant, and over here is a lavender plant. This is my pineapple sage, which is doing really well this spring. I wasn't even sure if it would come back. There's more Swiss chard. More kale. And I do have kale that's going to seed. This is my lemon verbena. When I purchased the plant, I put it in the ground according to directions, and it said that in our area it would need to be brought indoors for the winter, so I opted to bring it here in the greenhouse, and as you can see, it is coming back really well. It has a beautiful smell when you rub the leaves. Here's some more tomato plants. These are the black Burnisage tomatoes, and I got them free seeds with my order from Baker Creek several years back, and each year I plant them and grow more black Burnisage tomatoes and save the seeds. You need to see the truth about gardening. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many weeds you pull, you'll still have more weeds that will come up. The better your soil, the better the weeds. Over here, I have some garlic chives. It came with some collards, the tree collards that I bought. The tree collards didn't make it from one year to the next, but the garlic chives have come back. And in amongst the weeds over here, I have one huge purple asparagus plant. It came up, the reason it's so large is it sits right next to this composting bin, and when the composting bin gets wet, it leaks out into the ground and fertilizes everything around it. Again, some more mint plants. These are an orange mint plant. They have a soft, fuzzy leaf. These are the favorite of my mint plants. I love making a mint tea with them, or just eating the leaves. Over here, I have some black-eyed Susans in a pot that when I cleaned out my garden last spring, I stuck them in a pot. Yesterday, there was no asparagus amongst these leaves, and today you can see how many sprigs of asparagus I have to pick. It grows this fast in one day. So earlier today when I was doing a video out here in the garden, I misspoke. I said these are garlic chives. They are actually just chives. You'll notice the roosters aren't crowing right now. I just gave everybody their snacks. But you may hear in the distance our neighbor's chainsaw to replace the noise of the roosters, and every once in a while the bark of a dog. Anyway, these are in fact chives, not garlic chives. I made reference earlier to putting mint in pots, and I wanted to show you this is what happens if you let just one branch from your mint plant touch the ground. All of a sudden you have an all new bunch of chocolate mint growing in your garden. These are our larger blueberry bushes. The bees are busy with all the blooms on them. In amongst them are some thornless blackberries that came up from the roots. And these thornless blackberries I keep pulling out and transplanting. I don't know how many I've given to friends, but they like to just come up where the roots go through down underneath the soil. And we love the blackberries. They are huge, and the thornless is a definite plus on blackberries. This is my back garden, and this is the garlic that I planted last November, and it will be ready for harvest in a couple more months. And behind the garlic here are fennel plants. These are ones that I actually grew from seed last summer. They never really did much, but they made it over the winter, and now I have more fennel growing. Something new for me to grow this year are onions. I bought onion sets from our Tractor Supply. The reason it's new for me this year is because actually I have suffered from an allergy to onions for many years. I did some research and listened to an audiobook where it was talking about foods that you're allergic to and trying to get rid of those allergies and just easing them into your diet. So far it's working well. It looks like here I've had a little help with something. Decided it would pull up one of the onions and try to eat it. I believe we've had some squirrels out here in the garden, probably looking for all the hickory nuts that they buried last fall. But the onions are growing well. These are a combination of red onions, and down this way I have white onions. They're a white sweet onion. Hopefully my experiment in getting rid of my onion allergy continues on with positive results. If not, I'll be giving onions to every person that I know. A couple of years ago, I had some garlic, and I had one come up where it had been a couple of years since I planted garlic in that area, and I didn't really notice it. It was in amongst some tomato plants and other things. And then the first thing I knew, it had started to go to seed, and I thought, well, I'll just take the seeds from it and throw it in this raised bed and see if they'll grow. I did that last year, and sure enough, they grew. Looks like I may have some garlic growing from seed collected 2 years ago. One thing about growing your own food, there's always something to do. This area here, there were some peach trees that just never did well. I did save one peach tree for a friend, but in amongst all of these daylilies here and the iris, if you look around, you'll see this, and these are garlic chives. They come back every year and they spread. Once again, I've given these to a lot of friends, but they're very tasty additions when cooking. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos as I make them, hit the bell and you'll get notifications when new videos are made. This is just a quick spring garden tour. Just wanted to let you know that year-round, when you grow your food, there's something to do in the garden, whether it's inside, in a garage, outside in a greenhouse, or outside in a garden that likes to grow weeds, even in the winter.